Everyone, this is Kiki Fitz. I'm going to be interviewing Chelsea Ali, and it's going to be about discrimination in schools today. So, Chelsea, do you think discrimination is still present in schools today?
Yeah, I do, especially coming from a white area in Minnesota, coming to East Stroudsburg. There's a lot of African American and people of color, and I tend to notice those people kind of sticking to their own groups and people of the same color being together. I mean, I'm a victim of that. I kind of only hang out with white people, but I do see like in the cafeteria and just like in the union and literally everywhere that most people just kind of like stick to their same groups, especially in school.
Why do you think that is?
I think people feel more comfortable, and also just even like talking to some of my African American friends that they just think like white people are so privileged, they don't want to be around them, and they kind of look down on us. And I also think certain white people look down on them, so they never really give those different people to them a chance.
So, how do you think that this like stereotypes and these discrimination comes about? Like, you know how they said like they think that the white people are more privileged, and they think that, you know, African Americans get into more trouble. So how do you think that this comes about?
I think it comes about how people are raised. I know in my area, we maybe had like 10 African Americans at my school. So I was raised in a primarily white neighborhood. And so people, a lot of the older people in my community, if they would see an African American teenager, they would automatically assume that they were doing drugs or they were just bad kids raised in bad homes, and they don't know how to be like proper human beings at all.
Oh, so you want me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay, so how do you think poverty can affect this process of discrimination, including that like in impoverished areas, schools do not get funded as much, etc.?
Yeah, so in a lot of impoverished areas, especially where I'm from in the city, a lot of the schools that do have primarily African American people, the schools have zero funding. They don't get the best teachers, especially a lot of teachers I had. They don't get a lot of money. They don't get the right textbooks, and their schools are usually run down, pretty just not nice schools at all, and they're kind of like ugly. They don't get like new fields, new classrooms. They don't get like updated desks or like books or even like pencils.
Do you think that this will cause the stereotype of like race and discrimination? Do you think that this causes that?
Yeah, I do. I think it growing up in a poverty area really causes discrimination, because it makes the people that aren't in poverty like...
It makes the stereotype
Yeah, it makes
correct.
the stereotype correct, which in some cases it is, in some cases it isn't.
All right, on to the next question. How do you feel about discrimination through like gender issues?
I feel that everyone is equal, but obviously that's not the case in a lot of like sports. For example, girls can't really play on guys' teams, but I've seen guys playing on girls' teams. For example, in high school, there was a girl that was a really good kicker in soccer, and she tried out for being a kicker in football, and she was the best, better than any guy on the team, and they wouldn't let her on the team because she was a girl and they didn't want her to get hurt. But if she wants to play, that should be her like choice to do. And yeah, I feel like guys really look down on girls, think we're weak.
Do you think that in like the sports case that guys and girls sports are funded equally?
No. I think that guys sports, really especially football and basketball, are funded so much. They get a lot of stuff. They get a lot of apparel. They get a lot of publicity. And girls sports that are even really good, like top 10 winning national champion teams, don't get that much publicity and that much even funding.
All right, thank you, Chelsea. On to the next question. How do you think that the LGBTQ community is discriminated against?
How they're discriminated against?
Yes. And why?
How they're discriminated against and why. I think them being different from, I guess, I don't want to say regular people, but them being just different and who they're liking and who they want to be, especially transitioning from boy to girl or girl to boy. I think some people are scared of that, so they do stereotype those kind of people to be like different, weird, and maybe even in poverty as well, because they grew up like not knowing what is right and what is wrong, so they just want to like do their own thing. So I think people discriminate against them really just because they're different.
All right, last question. Do you think that all these all these topics like race and gender and the gay community and all those other things that lead to discrimination can eventually be like ended, or do you think it'll be a forever lasting thing?
Well, you go both ways on that. I think it could be ended, but every single person in this world would have to be on the same page with it. They'd have to be, a lot of people are against it, and a lot of people are for it, and I think getting everyone on the same page, supporting everyone, was never going to happen, but it'd be amazing if it could. And also, it couldn't happen because no one will be on the same page. A lot of people don't see why people are gay. Some people some people don't see from other people's eyes what they've experienced. So no, I guess my answer is no.
Well, thank you very much, Chelsea Ali.
Yeah.